Well, hello again, dear friends. In this video, we intend to explain one of the most fascinating advanced technical analyses, namely the Ichimoku Clouds, and learn how we can use the Ichimoku Clouds for technical stock analysis. But keep in mind that the Ichimoku indicator, also known as Ichimoku Kinko-hyo, was designed by a Japanese journalist named Mr. Goichi Hosoda in 1930. Ichimoku Kinko-hyo translates to one-look equilibrium chart, and the concept of this phrase is that analysts can identify trends by looking at the chart and seek buy and sell signals. But what are the applications of the Ichimoku indicator? One of the applications of the Ichimoku indicator is identifying the trend of a stock. Another is examining support and resistance cool points, identifying the direction and strength of the trend. Obtaining important information about the stock in a short time frame. You can use this tool to get signals for entering and exiting a stock, determining the stop loss level, identifying price reversal points of the stock, and many other methods you can use to perform this task. However, what you see in the image is not just the Ichimoku clouds. In addition to these clouds, we have three important lines that you must fully understand. The interactions of these three lines generate various signals. These lines are the ones you observe. The first line you see is the Tenkan line, which is the red line. This red line that you see on the chart is labeled as Tenkan here. For the Ichimoku clouds, you see the Tenkan line in yellow. The second line is the Kijun line, which is our blue line. It is also labeled here. And the third line is the green line. The line is called Chikou Span, which is shown in green. We also have two protective zones, which include the Chikou Span A and BB, which are essentially the protective area of the Ichimoku clouds. In fact, Chikou Span A and B respectively indicate the upper and lower protective zones of the clouds. However, the Tenkan line, or the red line, is also referred to as the reversal line. Its calculation method is such that it calculates the average of the highest and lowest prices over a 9-day period. This line is mainly used for trend identification. That is, when it moves up and down, it means there is a trend in the market, and whenever it becomes horizontal, we will not witness any specific event or trend in the market. But the next line is the blue line. This is the Kijun line, which is referred to as the standard line. The calculation method for the Kijun line is such that you calculate the average of the highest and lowest prices over a 26-day period. This line is used to identify the speed of changes, trends, and the speed of trend changes in the future, in such a way that if the price is above the blue line, it means that the trend of the stock is upward. And whenever the price is below the Kijun line, there is a possibility that the trend, the sets of the stock, is downward. If we want to identify the trend using two lines, we can say that in an upward trend and a downward trend, certain events occur with the Kijun and Tenkan lines. Whenever the Tenkan line, which is the red line, crosses the Kijun line, which is the blue line, upwards, we are witnessing the trend becoming upward. What does this mean? This means that, as I said, the Tenkan line crosses the Kijun line upwards. For example, look at this area here. The red line, which is the Tenkan, has come from below and crossed the blue line from below to above, and this point can be a significant point. This point can be a buy signal for me. It indicates that from here on, my trend will be an upward trend. It is the point where we actually witness the crossing of two lines. But what about the downward trend? In a downward trend, whenever the Kijun line crosses the Tenkan line upwards, we witness the trend becoming bearish. That is in this area. See here, the red line is crossing from bottom to top. Now if the blue line crosses from bottom to top, we witness a downward trend in the stock price chart, and vice versa. Look here, the blue line is crossing the chart from bottom to top. We then witness a downward trend on the stock price chart. But the Ichimoku clouds tell us that these signals are not very accurate, and in other words, do not provide you with timely signals. You should also pay attention to my clouds. You need to look at my clouds. Don't just focus on the lines. Now, before I explain exactly how these actually provide you with signals, let's also examine the green line together to see what happens with the Chikou Span. We usually refer to the green line as the lagging line because it provides signals with a significant delay, and it is calculated such that today's closing price represents the price of the stock from 26 days ago. The signals we can obtain using this line include the following. Look. 1. When the green line crosses the stock's price chart from bottom to top, we have a buy signal. So let's go and see it on the chart together. I can see the green line moving here, and here the price chart. Look at the price, not at all. Work with a ton of couriers, nor with Sen. We say when Chikou Span is crossing the stock's price chart from below. This means at this point I can see an upward trend, and you can see that an upward trend forms afterward. But when the green line crosses from top to bottom, meaning at this point it is crossing the stock's price chart, we will have a bullish signal. We will have a bearish signal. Now, why do we say this line is a lagging line? Because you see, we are observing the trend from this point onward has become bearish, meaning up to this point our trend was not bearish. It is giving us a delayed signal. It is giving us a late signal or to not giving a signal on time. It's better to say we don't get a signal from it on time. For example, imagine looking here. I'm seeing Chikou riding a horse from above, downward here, so I should expect a decline from this point. See, there's a bit of a delay. It means it's a little ahead. From this point onward, the trend has become downward. So look here. It's cutting the chart from below to above. However, it hasn't completely cut here. It has moved on the chart and areas different here on the line, right? We saw a few points from the 5 names. So let's pay attention, guys. 2 signals we've learned so far. For the lines, Tenkan, Kiosk, and what? When the Tenkan Servo cuts the 4 sen from below to above, cuts them, meaning these areas where we realize we have an upward trend, and conversely, it becomes a downward trend. When the Kaiosen cuts from below to above, we will have a downward trend. But for the green line, or what to do, we consider the intersection between what to do and the chart as a signal. If what to do cuts from below to above, it's an upward trend. If it cuts from above to below, it will be a downward trend. Now, what is the Ichimoku Cloud? Let's see what the Ichimoku Cloud brings for us. The cloud generally consists of 2 lines that we refer to. As you can see here, we were telling him 5 S Fund 1 and 5 S Fund B. Look, my dears, 5 S Fund A is obtained by calculating the average of 10 periods of the highest and lowest prices for a 26-day period. But 5 Span B is obtained by calculating the average of the highest and lowest prices over a 52. Fasting is obtained. Now, what are the signals that give us 5 S Fund? I actually buy and sell to get signals to receive buy and sell signals from the software. I need to make a comparison. As among these signals, it was messed up. Now, if we want to get a buy and sell signal from this method, it goes like this, in such a way that our buy signal is when our red line. I will refer to the lines Tenkan, Kijun, Kumo, and Chikou Span as red, blue, and green so that we can more easily make decisions about them. When our red line, which is my Tenkan, is above our blue line, which is 40. For example, see in this area, I mentioned the red comes from below, crosses the blue, and now from this point onward, the Tenkan is above 40. When our red line is above the blue line, and at the same time both lines are above the Ichimoku Cloud. This indicates that the trend of the stock is upward. So if you remember, I said the signal here is okay. I am receiving the signal, but I should not rely solely on this. I need to wait and also observe the clouds. So this is not my buy signal yet. My buy signal is when, firstly, this point has been issued, meaning the Tenkan should come above 40, and secondly, that I should be positioned above the cloud. Right now I am not above the cloud, but from this area onward, I am above the Ichimoku Cloud. Therefore, here I can say that I have entered a strong upward trend and can get a good signal from it. But for the sell signal, how does it work? When the blue line, meaning 40, is above the red line, meaning Tenkan, and at the same time both of these lines are positioned below the Ichimoku Cloud, this indicates that the stock is bearish. Look guys, right now I have the Tenkan line and the 40 line, which is blue. I see it above the red line. Completely correct. This is a signal for a decline, but I can only say it's a decline when both of these lines that are in this area are completely positioned below the Ichimoku Cloud. Look, here when the chart has entered the cloud and hasn't gone below it yet, so I can't consider it an exit signal. I wait, and then you see the stock's price chart has started to rise again, so I can only consider a trend as a strong downward trend when the 40 line is above its 10 kilometers and they're both under the Mako Cloud. And see, well, there's one thing you should know, pay close attention to, is that when your price chart is inside the Ichimoku Cloud, look at these areas. In these areas, when the chart is inside the Ichimoku Cloud, we have a neutral state. This means we should not make any decisions about the stock. A price chart that is inside the Ichimoku Cloud is never analyzable, and you must wait for it to exit the cloud either above the cloud or below the cloud, and then act according to the signal. 3 lines will tell you exactly what you need to do. Well, this was the analytical method of Ichimoku Clouds, which is very, very interesting and should be used alongside all the analytical methods you are learning. You must definitely use this analytical method as well, and take the desired signal, note it down in one place, and then continue with the other analytical methods alongside it.